Hello and welcome back to the Chatter Cave podcast, where we talk basically media in some form or of a fashion, with a discussion, either a review or just topical discussion like we're doing now. I'm your host, Ranking Thomas Hughes. I'm joined by my lovely and beautiful co-host. I'm getting a dirty look from behind me for saying that. Mr. Connor O'Shea, aka Zenify Gaming.
Good to be back for a second week in a row.
Second week in a row. Nice. It would have been third week in a row if there wasn't that Mandalorian one that split the last time he was on. But sadly, that split it. But yes, we're here for episode 69.
Is it 69?
Yeah.
Why do you not do something different?
Because this topic feels like you're being screwed in both ends.
Right, we're watching Watch Mojo top 10 porn stars right now.
Well, before we start, I just want to do a quick update in regards to our live streaming attempts. So obviously, there won't be one this Sunday, but we're going to try and do one the Sunday after. Because obviously we've got Phasmophobia going out this Sunday, where you fuck up within the first 5 seconds of a map. That one's this Sunday.
I did not do anything wrong.
It led to a funny stream for me, so it's worth it.
It is hilarious.
But yeah, that we're gonna start doing it then. Obviously, we'll be doing a mixture of obviously co-op multiplayer games, and I think some single player just streaming to each other type situation as well. Like I was looking at possibly picking up Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, kind of quiz night.
Yeah,
it's on sale at the moment with DLC for like £15, like basically half price. That's with all the DLC. Which is ironic because of the topic today. But yeah, so I was looking at picking that up, and we can do stuff like that each Sunday. So we're going to try and do that a week this Sunday. But anyway, back to our normal topical discussion, because today's topic, as I said, feels like getting fucked in both ends. DLC. So how we're going to talk about this is obviously we're going to talk about what makes good DLC, what we would define as bad DLC, and just like discussion in general on different aspects of DLC, what we love and hate about it, sort of thing. And obviously this is something that's come to my mind recently, because I've recently started and finished a DLC for a game, which is the Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores expansion. That starts going out, I think that's a week Saturday, that starts going out on my channel, and that'll last for like 9 episodes across the month. But that's what brought this idea to me, because I was sitting there playing it and going, fuck me. Don't get me wrong, this is a good expansion, but I can't remember the fucking controls for this game. I haven't touched this game in a year. Like, this game came out February 2022. I probably finished it a couple of months after that. So let's just say I finished it April 2022. So that's an entire year ago. And they decided to announce an expansion. I think it was December of last year, Game Awards, I think it might have been, or it might have been just before that. It was around the end of the year they announced the expansion, and obviously then they dropped the expansion about a week ago, I think it was. So they dropped that expansion. Obviously, I didn't get to play it for a few days because I was trying to finish another game, so I was like, I want to focus on this game, which is why I bashed through this DLC so I could play Star Wars when that comes out. And as I say, I was sitting there and I was like, it's been a year since I played this, and I can't remember the fucking controls. The first battle I get, like, the first bit's not too bad because you're literally doing a bit of talking, a bit of dialogue, a bit of cutscene, and not too bad. And then you obviously takes you to the actual expansion area, and you're instantly into battle, and I'm there hiding in a bush going, right, so what button do I click here? What weapons are which in this game? Spear? Is this good? Oh, that's good. I was there like that for ages. And like, that's not even just the beginning of the DLC. That is like the entire DLC. I spent the entire time going, what weapons, what do I do here? What do I do there? And I spent ages trying to think of it. And that's what made me go, you know what? I feel like we could have a discussion on DLC over the fact that, yeah, it's a good idea, like, releasing an expansion for a game, but sometimes waiting too long can just, like, make it a bad thing, if you know what I mean. Because you waited that long for it, you've literally, your mind's a blank slate. You're just like, fuck me. Like, this DLC, it would work if I was playing it from the beginning straight into the DLC. But as someone who's literally played the game, is not going to play the game again just to play DLC, wants to jump straight into it, it's kind of a fuck take trying to remember every single part of the game. Like that's a mixture there of good and bad DLC. It's good because it's an expansion to a game. It's bad because it's such a long wait before you got it, and you forgot everything.
I'm trying to think of a game that I had the same experience with, and I think the only one I can think of is probably Breath of the Wild. Because every time I go back to the game, I'm like, oh, I've totally forgot what I'm doing.
I tried
I
to
just
get
put it back down. I'm
I tried
like,
to get
what
back
am
to it the other day.
doing?
The other day, I literally sat there for about an hour playing it. Didn't get that far into it, and I was just like, okay. I spent ages again, like you trying to figure out the controls for it. But that is not necessarily DLC. That's more of the case of you just trying to remember the game in general.
Been about the game, yeah.
But obviously, with the Burning Shores expansion, it's it's me trying to learn the game in general again. But I'm only have to do that because of DLC. So that's the annoying part of it. Because it's just like, if you... Yeah, I understand maybe like a bit of a wait, but a whole fucking year is like... That's a long wait. Because I mean, especially since you've already got most of your stuff already there. So you've only got to really like build like a new little area. And just add new character models to already like AI and whatnot. And just go from there. It's just like, did it really take you an extra year to basically get this expansion out? I don't understand if the game was fucked at launch, but it wasn't. It was fine.
I feel like the long waits with DLC is usually so people who didn't pick up the game before now be like, oh well, I'll pick up the base game knowing the DLC is going to come out. So I feel like the base game would get them extra sales rather than, oh, let's release a totally new game. People are like, oh, I ain't going to buy a new one. I've not played the last one. So
I understand, like, say maybe like a 6 month wait, but like a whole, yeah, 1 year and 2 month wait between game launch and DLC launch. That's a long fucking wait. Yeah, it's got me back into the game.
I think of another DLC that's taken that long, really.
It's got me back into the game, but it's just still the case of, yeah, I still would have probably been like this then. Like, there was nothing out for me really to play, probably about 6 months after the DLC, the original base game came out. So, but now I literally have to try and bash through this DLC as quick as I can because Star Wars coming out. Like, they're releasing it at the worst possible time. But that's the only bonus thing of it being like a 7-hour expansion.
It's only 7 hours.
That's another thing. You're waiting for, if you just focus on main story, you're literally doing it within the 7-hour mark. You're waiting over a year, pay 15 quid for a 7-hour expansion. Yeah, there's all the side crap you can do, but if you're focused on the story, you're literally done within fuck all time, really.
I mean, I've not seen anything from the DLC other than all the people like review bombing it because apparently it's like an optional choice lesbian interaction, interaction, and everyone's like, "Why is this in a game?" It's like it's an optional choice. Like, just don't do it then.
It's literally 1 in 3 options. You have 2 other options that basically can ignore that. I mean, I went for it. It is me. I went for it. I was like, I played enough Assassin's Creed Odyssey to know I fuck anything in sight.
I still think my favourite photo of Aloy is the one where it's got Nikocado Avocado, and it's like, is this the base model? I'll see if I can find it because it's so funny. Oh my god!
But yeah, that's what made me obviously want to talk about DLCs is because this long wait. I mean, wasn't Cyberpunk like a long ass wait before its DLC came out? Its expansion.
It's never got DLC yet. It's still waiting.
It's still waiting for it. When did that
It's not out till like end of this year, I think. But
game...
don't forget, to share, their whole fucking game was a wreck, so they had to fix it before they could do anything else.
That's a 2-year wait, isn't it then? If it's ended this year, because it's 2020 it came out, wasn't it?
Pretty sure. See, I don't mind a long wait for DLC if it's a big fucking DLC. Like almost it's like another game. Like that's what I feel like this Cyberpunk DLC is going to be. It's going to be pretty much a huge DLC. I don't see them doing anything small. Like the Witch DLCs, they're huge.
That's what I mean. Like stuff like that. Like you don't mind it if it's like worth it. What the?
It's so good.
Oh, for fuck's sake! But yeah, like you don't mind it if it's like I say a massive expansion that's like worth your time putting the hours into. But when it's like something just like short, like I say with this one, where it's like the main story is literally within 7 hours done, and that would probably be even less than that. Like, I think you can even bash it out within like 5 hours. I think that's. How long did it take me? I don't think it took me 7 hours, but I know like if you like took your time with it, it could take up to 7 hours. But it literally, you can, if you look on any playthrough online, it can be done within the 5 hour mark. Like, I mean, it only took me extra time because I kept dying over and over again. That was because of me trying to figure out
base game if you've done just a story.
Base game. Oh, base game took me forever, man. Like, I mean, I had like over 30 episodes, maybe even 40. Like, it took me fucking.
I'm trying to think.
30, maybe 35 to 40 hours, something like that.
Like, I'm guessing, like, how much was the base game? Like 60 quid
at launch. Oh, now you're asking. Now you're asking, son. 60, 70 maybe.
So yeah, 670. So,
but if you bought the PS4 version for about 50 quid, you can upgrade for free.
You got the upgrade.
Yeah, that's what I did. I literally. Here it is. I was playing it earlier. I literally brought the PS4 one, and you literally got the PS5 upgrade for nothing. So it's literally like
cheaper.
Yeah, 50 quid. Say 50 quid then.
So let's put in context. The DLC being 15 quid does warrant about about 7 to 15 hours, I guess, for the price based on the original game price. But still, that's pretty short for a DLC, I guess.
Especially for an like a year wait.
There wasn't any DLC for the first one, was there?
There was the Frozen Grounds.
Oh, was there?
But you could literally buy the game with that expansion attached to it.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
Edition.
I bought that for like 20 quid or something, even less than that probably. Because it was like an entire expansion like combined into one. But yeah, I mean, it's just the case of as well with this. It's like how the first game ended. It wasn't necessarily needed. Like they introduced like a brand new like villain that was part of the other groups, the other group that was in the main game. Like this guy's come out of nowhere and he's like, oh yeah, you need to get rid of him now. And it's just like, where's this guy come from? Like I don't remember being mentioned in the main game. This like random other Far Zenith, and it's like, yeah, no, he's here now. Go destroy him. He's in this like more tropical location than where you're at currently. I'm just like, yeah, the location you get to is really fucking nice. It's like a really nice beach location. Like it even gives you like a new flight option for your bird. You can get a water wing, which basically goes underwater. Basically, essentially,
Avatar.
That's what I said while playing it. I said the sun wing you get in the base game is basically Avatar 1. The water wing you get in the expansion is basically Avatar 2. The expansion is basically Avatar 2.
That's why it took me a year because I was waiting for the film. I was like, come on, I want some ideas.
But yeah, like it's a cool little. Like, it had like a few like cool little things. So, like, there's a new weapon you get, which is like a blaster on your arm that shoots like these projectile explosives, which is like really fucking good. I can't stop using it. It's like so good. And then they've also given you like the worst weapon in the game, which is like a toy bow. It's apparently it's like a reference to The Last of Us Part 2. It's like a little toy bow, but apparently it's like really shit. It's like really awful, but it's more of like the lols. But like, I say, I don't mind that it's a short DLC. It's just that, as I said, it's a long ass wait for something so small.
Yeah,
like
so that could have. I'm not saying it should have been added straight away, but like you said, it's added like another character that didn't really get introduced in the base game. It's like, oh, who's this random dude now?
Exactly.
Like I said, I can't judge it. I've not played it. It's all coming from you.
And then at the end, they use DLC to set up possibly a third game. It's just like, shouldn't you have set that up within the main game, not the third game? Not the DLC, sorry. So what if no one bothered with the DLC? You're literally making people buy the DLC just to basically get the sort of general idea of what a third game's going to be. Oh, there's a weapon. We've got to go find the piece of the weapon by going to these different places. But it's just, I'm just worried. I just want to know how they're going to work it with obviously Lance Reddick passing away. Because he's the one that gives you the information to send you Burning Shores. He's the one that you give the information back to when you've won at Burning Shores. And he's the one that then gives you the hint at the next game. It's just like, how's it going to work without him though? How are you going to work?
They'll just use AI voices.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. He'd probably use his voice and then give money to family or something.
And so it depends. if it's like anything like James Earl Jones, he obviously signed off on his voice, didn't he? So they can replicate it with Vader and Mufasa and stuff like that over the years, so he doesn't have to do it himself. But yeah, so obviously going away from obviously the length of wait for DLC. Obviously, if we now talk about what we define as good and bad DLC. So what would you define as good DLC?
What would I define? What an example, or just like overall? What would I put as
Overall, if you can think of an example, give one.
I feel like anything that can add to the base game of a DLC, like of the actual thing as a DLC, so you don't have to finish the base game to get into it. It just integrates into it. That's my favorite. So like, I know you don't really like Dark Souls series, but they do it really well. So that you can get like so far into the game, and you'd be like, oh, you got two paths now. You can either go down the DLC path, or you can carry on with like the main game kind of thing. Like I know in Dark Souls 3 you got like the painted world, and you get to like a castle which is almost halfway through the base game, and you can decide just to go straight into the DLC. You don't have to do all the base game to get to it. Not like that type of DLC. I feel like anything that like it adds to the world, but not really the story of the base game, because I feel like it takes away from what the base game was sometimes. Like, obviously, you said with Horizon, the fact that it was like a 7-hour DLC that didn't really have anything to do with the base game, but then you had to play it to set up the next game. I feel like sometimes that's kind of a bit ass to do that. Trying to think of another really good example of DLC. DLC is a hard one, man, because I feel like only a fraction of player base ever really buy DLC.
I think
like not everyone, unless you really love the game.
I think Valhalla did a good idea with a DLC. Assassin's Creed, when it did the Ragnarok expansion, where it's like
the one that was like a standalone, but also kind of integrated.
I think that was an interesting idea, because you say you didn't have to you have to get so far in the game before you unlocked it, but it's something that didn't affect the main game in terms of its story. Like, it's its own individual story that you can just enjoy going forward. Obviously, I never finished it. I've never actually got around to finishing it, but it added a lot more to the game in terms of like game mechanics. You can have you can walk through lava with a certain cloak and stuff like that. Like, it added stuff that you wouldn't find in the base game, and obviously you can't take that into the base game. But it's in this world here, it's its own thing. Like, I think that's quite a cool idea. Like, adding an expansion that is linked, but isn't heavily linked. But pretty much what you said. Like, it adds to the game, but it doesn't like affect the main story of the game. Like, it's its own thing. I feel like that is like a good example of an expansion.
I feel like as well, like sometimes the best DLC is something that doesn't add to even the main story, but adds like a side mode to it. Like trying to think of something. Like Call of Duty, for example, like it didn't add like campaign stuff. I know it added multiplayer maps, but also added like the zombie stuff. It's like a separate stuff. It's like, oh, here's some more zombies maps. I kind of have a story, but you don't really need to do the story. I think that's like a good DLC as well. It doesn't affect the main campaign loop, I guess.
Just some a bit extra to keep you going.
Yeah, I mean, there is some obviously DLC that do affect story, and some of them are amazing, but I feel like they get less obviously development time than the base game itself. Probably a smaller team working on this DLC, so it gets kind of washed out. It doesn't get this like huge like bang like the base game did. So that's probably. I mean, I can think of many of the worst DLCs.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to in a minute. So, what would you then define as bad DLC?
Right. Anything that's microtransaction, if we're counting that as DLC, because that's just like.
Yeah, like
I don't mind skins in games. I don't mind
unlocking them.
Like, oh, here's a cosmetic skin, like, but I don't like randomness of skins. I think sometimes is crap unless it's done in like the right way. So like, I feel like CS:GO does it in the right way where like you can unlock it, but then you can also resell it back on the market, kind of thing. So you can make your money back. I guess it's kind of gambling, but that's pretty bad. Call of Duty always seem to do it really bad. Like, I know for the past so many Call of Duties have done cosmetics that don't really have an advantage really, other than some skins that are really dark, so it's hard to say. But in the news Call of Duty, the last update, they added like items which have effects on in certain game modes. So like, I know the DMZ, which is meant to be like a serious game mode, you're meant to get his items. If you wear like a certain piece of like DLC item that you buy, you get like a UAV It's like that's just cheating, and like I don't understand. That's just a whole advantage for spending money. Yeah, I think that's my biggest second DLC that I absolutely loathe, and I regret ever buying the season pass for the game was the Tiny Tina's Wonderlands DLC, because that was not a DLC. Every single one was just like a 5 minute little dungeon thing, and I spent like fucking 30 quid on a season pass. It was so stupid. They added like nothing to it.
And
So
so,
yeah,
I would say, I would say, for me, obviously, I agree that whole microtransactions, like the cosmetics, like especially when you get the option off the get go to buy, say, a deluxe edition, and then you look into said deluxe edition, and all it's literally giving you is a skins, a couple of weapons, and basically nothing worth paying the extra, like what, sometimes 20 quid. Like for example, Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is my big example of a recent game that's done it. That had deluxe edition, that added some extra skins, some extra guns, some map locations, and just little crap like that. And it's just like, that's not worth like paying the extra fucking 20 odd quid for, is it? Because I mean, the base game alone was what? Was it $49.99? 59.99?
yeah, I think.
Something like that. And then obviously the expansion was like an extra, like, the deluxe edition was like an extra 10, as I say, maybe 20 quid at a push. And it's just like, how is that worth paying the extra for? It's not really, is it?
See, if it was like an extra £5 or something, I could understand, because like, oh, it's some extra skin stuff. Like, you know, if you're doing replays of the game, like, obviously I've done a few replays. I changed the skin from like the base. When you unfinish the game, you get the pinstripe, whatever. So I'm running with that. But like, I wouldn't pay 20 quid for a few extra skins that I'm probably going to use like a few times. It seems so pointless. I mean, especially being on PC, I could just mod it anyway. Like, why do
Exactly.
I need
It's like,
these skins?
what's the one that's a recent one? WWE, for example, I remember saying to you, the different, like, you got 3 different fucking tiers. You got the base game, which is just the base game. You get the pre-order bonus, which is fine. That's fine. You got the deluxe edition, or whatever they called it. I think it might have been called deluxe edition. I can't remember. Which contained basically the season pass, which again's fine. Season pass adds the extra wrestlers. It adds like some extra boost in the main, the story mode of the game, and there's a couple of little things here and there, which obviously it's over the course of so many months they add this extra stuff. So again, it's a bit of a push to be like, I'm really paying extra just for extra characters within the game, but like if you get it on cheap, it's not too bad, as you say. And then I think there was the Icon edition? I think there actually might have been 4 tiers. I think I know the one edition added like just some old wrestlers, but that are already in the base game. Just the old skins for them. It's just like, why am I paying the extra fucking? And these prices go up to like £90 plus, and it's just like,
Yeah.
why am I paying that much money? Where all I'm really getting here is basically reskins of characters already in the game, just their old skins. It's just like, why the fuck am I paying this much money for that? Like, I think it was like John Cena, is it Batista, and there was someone else, I think. And I say it was like just their old, like early 2000s versions of the characters that were obviously the main characters are already in the game, and it's like the early 2000s. And it's just like, why the fuck am I gonna pay like 90 odd quid just for this little bit? Like, I can literally buy the season pass edition for like fucking 20 quid back that way, and that's fine. Why am I paying the extra 20 quid for this little crap like this? It's just like, what's the why? Why am I gonna pay 90 quid for just reskins of something that's already in the game?
I think the thing that a lot of these did like games and companies are doing now. Obviously, I know they did it with WWE and they're doing it with Diablo. Is like, oh, if you buy this upgrade edition, you can play the game 3 days earlier than everyone else can.
Yeah, but
So
did that
obviously, like
the
with
deluxe
Diablo,
edition?
I want to do that.
The deluxe edition of
Because I
WWE
mean,
had that which is fine.
yeah,
But why the fuck am I paying the extra 20 quid for a version with just a couple of reskins?
yeah, I don't understand it.
And
It's so
I'm
stupid.
pretty certain there was one more edition above that was a bit more expensive.
Pretty
It was
sure
just
there
like,
was like £100 one on there. No, wasn't there like a whole collect? Was it a collector's edition, or am I thinking of something else?
I
I know there's
remember
like an exclusive one for game or something.
I remember there was like I think it's like 50 quid one, which is the base game. Then you had was it 50 quid or something like that. Then it was, I think it's 75. And I think then it was 90 or 95, something like that. There might have been one more than that. But I remember there being base, deluxe, and icon. No, base, I think deluxe, icon, and maybe the Cena edition. was the senior edition, the icon. I can't remember. I didn't bother with it. I looked at the price and fuck that. I'm paying the cheaper price for this deluxe edition. I ain't spending all that money for that. Just a couple of reskins. It's just like cosmetics. Like they say, a small price you don't mind. A cheap price you don't mind paying the extra for, say, cosmetics. But when they want to put out like a full, like, extra 20 quid on top of your base game for said cosmetics, then it becomes bad DLC. Like I say, the small price. It's not the great deal. It's not the best of DLCs out there. Like for DLC, you want really like an expansion for your game, not just like a couple of like skins. But for a small, like I say, an extra £5, not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. But for a 20 quid extra situation, or anything over the £10 mark, it's just like, that's bad DLC. Why the fuck am I paying this much for cosmetics?
As well, I don't mind cosmetics in a multiplayer game because other people are seeing your cosmetics. But in a single player game, why do I care? No one's gonna see this other than me. I don't care if I look like the character's naked or he's wearing like armor that makes him look like he's on fire. He's still got the same stats. It looks different. Like, yeah, I never understand the whole. Oh, I'm gonna pay £20 for like skins that no one else but me's gonna see. I don't understand that. I understand in games like Fortnite and stuff, and maybe even Call of Duty to an extent, obviously with the skins and stuff. You're not the only one seeing it. Everyone that you meet in game technically does see that as well. So you're kind of getting something from it, I guess, like fashion. Look at my fashion in game.
So Assassin's Creed is the one that's been going heavy on the cosmetics, microtransaction style since they rebranded, I'd say. Obviously, before they brought it back with Origins, it wasn't too bad. I don't think. I think there wasn't that much in terms of microtransactions, I want to say. Like, there's a few things, but it wasn't heavy. But then Origins happened, and after that, then they started pushing heavily with like skins for your horse, skins for your birds, skins for basically your character, weapon skins. Like, and it was the case of obviously a lot of it was either just earn the currency in game and just hope you have enough to get it, or pay like a ridiculous amount of out of game money to actually buy the in game currency to buy it.
I think that's one good thing is that if you can earn the skin in game somehow. I don't mind. I don't mind any skin being in the game as long as you can earn it while playing. But I think with Assassin's Creed they went more in the right way because don't forget in was it Unity you could literally buy like boosts to like XP. You could get like weapons that you couldn't unlock until like, end game. You could literally buy that real money. Was it Helix credits you had to add?
That's how they basically that's the currency you can pay for with your real money. And
yeah,
then they started adding a lot more like different terms for it. But Helix credits I think are still in there.
Yeah, I don't mind games where you can earn like the cosmetics within the game. Like, I'll give you an example. World of Warcraft is one. Obviously, you can earn a lot of like the mounts and stuff through doing like raids, dungeons, and whatnot. But the stuff that I hate the most is there's like the mounts and stuff that's locked to the in-game store. Like, oh, you can't have this mount unless you pay £20 for it. It's like, if I could earn it in game, like someone's gonna buy it anyway. But let me just earn it in game as well. Like, I don't understand the whole. I understand why they do it. It's because it's just money.
The thing with Assassin's Creed though, a lot of times with their ones that you can earn, the prices are ridiculous on them to earn. And the currency you have to get them isn't as common as it could be. Like that's my main problem with their microtransaction DLC. So it is literally the fact that the currency you get, which I think is opals, I think it is.
I remember in Origins it was something, but yes, talk to that little boy and he gives you like the branding box.
That's who it's been for. There's still like a little game. Yeah, it's heavily linked. It's the same guy, literally the same kid.
Okay.
It literally keeps appearing in all games. Like, there's little references to the previous one. But yeah, like you speak to him. Obviously, you get the daily ones where you get like a discounted price. And obviously, then you got the actual. Like he's the one you earn the currency through usually, but it's not a massive amount. Like I mean, I can't remember how much I've got at this point because I haven't played it in a while, but I got quite a bit. But that took me months to get. Like it took months. It's just like. Obviously, I could have brought it with real money, but like the price for real money is it's ridiculous. Like Because you're not really going to buy just the one outfit, are you? You're going to buy the whole set, like the horse,
Yeah, and it
the
costs like
sword.
20.
Exactly, like they've got so many like really cool looking sets, but you can never afford them because it's either fucking spend like months and months and months and months trying to get extra currency and building this up to afford the full set, or just buy it with real money, which is like something like fucking 20 quid or something stupid like that. It's just like, I ain't paying 20 quid for this small item. Like that's I feel like good and bad DLC there. It's good because you can earn it, but it's bad because if you want to earn it properly, it takes so long, and obviously the other paywall for it is a ridiculous price. So I think it's a bit of good and bad with Ubisoft side of it.
Trying to think of the only DLC I really hate. I don't mind any single player DLC really. You could have most things, but it's when it comes to multiplayer and it gives you an advantage in a
Yes,
multiplayer game. I absolutely hate that. Obviously, Call of
pay to
Duty, the
win.
old ones, were the worst for that. I mean, by far. I mean, you had Advanced Warfare where you could get like gun variants and stuff, and you could literally people would pay like hundreds of dollars and hundreds of pounds and stuff just to get this one gun which is better than every other gun. It's like, well, that's so stupid. Like, no, I'm locked out from that unless I earn it. I'm not going to pay £100 for something that is just random to get. It seems so stupid.
So it's pay to
I
win
think that's
basically, isn't it?
that's
Pay to win
the
is like
worst.
yes, exactly. It's like one of the worst kind of DLC out there. Is pay to win. Like you can let some slide, but pay to win is gotta be like a big one of no. Like what's the point? That's just that's just like if you can't afford it, it's just like well you screwed then. Like
What's your thoughts? Oh, this is one. This is like a DLC which always divides people, and I'm quite divided. I still don't understand where I stand on it. It's the Resident Evil skip DLCs. I don't know if you've ever seen these,
I've not
but
seen
it'd
it
be
now.
like so like in Resident Evil 2, it'd be like, oh, unlock all the bonus content that was in the game without having to do the challenges. It seems pointless then because you're buying the stuff that was like the challenge. Or it's like for sure in Resident Evil 2 you could buy like the complete one which gave you like all the side missions and stuff, but you could literally unlock that through playing the base game. That was the point. Like you had to get like like your S rank and S plus,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you had to do that to get them. Obviously, I understand some people probably like, oh, I couldn't do it. That's why I'm divided because I understand a lot of people maybe couldn't get the S plus or S rank, whatever, so they just brought it instead. But to me, that seems so stupid to have this like skip. It's I don't know. It's very divided. It's like, why are you giving away these
It's another weird one.
code modes?
It's essentially it's pay to win, but not pay to win at the same time. If you know what I mean? Like you're paying to basically win the game, but you win all the challenges. I mean, after obviously you've done it. So I'm agreeing with you there. I'm a bit divided on that. Like you can understand why maybe someone would want to do it because if they couldn't do it, then fair enough. Like say if they tried a couple of times couldn't do it, then fair enough. Oh, I'll just buy it so I can get the shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's the case of just keep trying, or just give you control to someone else who can do it and go, hey, play this for me. Your co-host back again.
Yeah. Trying to impress me.
But
He's
yeah,
just,
so I think DLC is just a mixed bag. I think like you got some really good DLC and you got some really bad. As I say, I think pay to win and microtransactions are probably notoriously the worst kind of DLC.
and mobile game extra lives that moms and dads buy, granddads and nans. Oh no, you've lost your life on Candy Crush Saga.
Anything that you
I
have
was
to pay
actually
for that just seems dumb to pay for, that's bad DLC.
there's actually a thing earlier about Activision put out their earnings, and I think the lost players. I think they went down from like 125 million to like 111 on console and a PC and stuff like that. But on mobile games, they gained like I think it's like 20 million active players like in the last year, and that scares me out because I'm scared these game companies are going to go fuck it. That's just a mobile games from now on because it's such an easy market to get into. I mean, I'm pretty sure per year that Candy Crush by far has to make more money than a lot of these other games, man. Because these people get addicted to them, just buy stuff over and over. That's crazy to me that they're losing players on console and PC, which is where the big player bases are. and the gaining on mobile.
So I've never brought anything on like the app games. I always just get to a point where it requires it and just give up. I don't see
I
the
mean,
point.
I hate the paywall thing. I don't mind if you got like a mobile game that you can just like sit and play on the side. Maybe sometimes like you've got to wait for like this thing to build or something. But like when it's literally like you need to wait a week for this to be. It's like okay, that's a bit that's a bit excessive. A week. I'm trying to find the Resident Evil 2 DLC.
Isn't your old man who kept
So,
buying some of that one game he kept playing?
my God, I think he's like, was it Dragon City or something?
Something stupid like that.
He just kept buying like random stuff. Like, stop buying stuff, man.
It's like I've never once in my life, like I've played many mobile games like I got addicted to for ages. Like I mean, got addicted to that. Is it Marvel Strike Force? Not the one that
Yeah,
we basically waited for the mass multiplayer one.
yeah,
The one
the
that's
one that's
basically
like the turn-based thing.
yeah. I got addicted to that for ages, and I never once brought anything for it. I just earned everything naturally. Like, there's so much I could have brought that would have just like been like, oh yeah, I'm buying that, I'm buying that, I'm buying that, but I didn't because I don't see the point in buying mobile game fucking pay microtransactions. I don't see the point. It's just bad DLC.
Thing is, mobile games. I'll download them. Like obviously the Doom one came out recently. I downloaded them. I'm playing for like an hour, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back to it. There's no substance to these games. Like I don't sit down and get invested. You know what I mean? It's not like this huge story. It's like a little mini game thing. It's like it's fine
Yeah,
for 2 seconds. After that, I'm looking at the Resident Evil 2 DLC, and currently it's on sale for £1.59. And it says immediate unlocks the following content normally obtainable through achieving certain records. You get the fourth survivor extra mode, you get tofu survivor, you get costume, you get all the bonus weapons, you get a model, and you get concept art. But surely I don't see the point. It seems so stupid. If you can't finish the base game, why are you getting these game modes which are like I think harder?
I mean for £1 of it, you can't really complain, can you?
See some of the stuff I don't
But
mind.
I agree with that. The case of if you can't finish the game and get that ranking on this lower difficulty, what makes you think you're gonna fucking do it on this higher difficulty that you have to get by unlocking this part of the game? So I understand what you're saying there.
It's like the DLC here for Resident Evil 2, and it literally makes the character models look like the blocky versions from the 1980 game, like the Resident Evil 2 1980 version, so like 1980, 98 version, 1980, and that fucking old. And they're free, but they're like the cooler skins. And then you got the other stuff like that. It's like £2.50 for like a soundtrack, like for the original version of soundtrack, so you can make it sound like the original game. Well, I don't understand. Surely that'd be cheaper than doing the skin.
That's just bad DLC, that is.
Like they got some skins here, like the Elsa Walker skin, which I know originally in the game it's meant to be her, like that character was meant to be in there. That's cool because it's like a throwback to a character that was never added. But then there's just random ones that like this one is like Claire in a military outfit. What has that got to do with anything? Like yeah, there's some stupid ass DLCs.
I think the moral of the story is if you're gonna do an expansion, make it. If you're gonna make people wait for it, make it worth it. Obviously, maybe look at just adding like an extra expansion that isn't related to the main game. Like you don't have to really follow a lot of the main game. It can be its own thing. And if you're gonna go the route of cosmetics, make it dirt cheap because you don't fucking be paying like 5, 10, 15, 20 for this fucking skin. And if you are gonna obviously make skins, make it make sense, not random.
Or make it earnable.
Or I say yes, make it earnable and make it make sense. Like as you said, there's the throwback skins to the old Resident Evil ones. That makes sense because you'd be able to play it like it was the old game, so that makes sense to me. But as you said, like randomly throwing in this, obviously Claire as a soldier is just like, why does that make sense? Claire's not a soldier. Claire's literally, she's not even like a copy. She's just a bystander.
Pretty sure she's just like a random woman.
I mean, she's just like a bystander. Like it makes no sense. Like especially if you pay money for it. If it was like something that was free, you could let it slide. But because you're paying for it, it needs to make sense. Like I feel like you can get away with the Assassin's Creed ones, the goofy ass like I don't know, you got a flaming fucking wolf. Like that's just hilarious. Like, it's because it's just the case of where Resident Evil was original. Where Assassin's Creed was originally to where it is now. It's just hilarious. It's like, oh, I'm back
So
in the old days, like walking over like you got moaned at for having a crossbow because it was not historically accurate, and then you just ride into battle on a fucking like lion. It's just like, here's historical accuracy for you. Fuck you. Like, I feel like
yeah, I think that's one of the craziest things with that whole argument was everyone was kicking off when they had, I mean, it was like, was it? I think it was the crossbow. Everyone was
Yeah,
like,
the
oh no,
original.
it wasn't crossbows at this point in time. And then literally went back and removed it, and and as further it got on, the worse it got with like these random things being added. It's like, for fuck's
But
sake,
they're
like,
funny though. Yeah, obviously it's stupid you have to pay for them, but I think they're quite humorous. As you say, just to be like where it's gone in terms of like where it was originally people complaining about historical accuracy to where it is at now. Like, I think that's funny. I do think that's really funny. That, and they say if you can earn some of them, which you can, it's fine. Yeah, they might be like stupid, but some of them do kind of make sense for like some of the like the word I'm after here, the fuck, what's the word I'm after here? The
aesthetic world.
like to the mythology and that, like
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
get like obviously lions that could be linked heavily maybe towards the ancient Greece one, like that could be something that's just passed over. The bear, riding around on a bear because, well, you're in like the wilderness, bears make sense, same to wolves. Obviously the ones that like fire and that could be linked to all the magic sides, obviously the Norse side of it, like stuff like that. You can sort of kind of accept it because obviously they do sort of have reasonings why they're existing. But as you say, with the Resident Evil one, that doesn't make sense because she's just a bystander, so it doesn't make sense why you're paying an extra 1 pence something just for a fucking military suit.
Also, talking about this, as you can see in the background, I've got this lovely horse with the armor on.
How much pay
This
for
was
that?
the first. This was the first ever microtransaction added to a game, and it was for Oblivion. And it was £2.50 to buy armor for a horse. It had no extra stats. It just looked like your horse had armor on. So that's where DLC all started. So we can blame the Elder Scrolls series for microtransactions.
Fuck the Elder
So
Scrolls series.
yeah,
That's who,
and
who the fuck is paying £2.50 for that?
I think it was like a gold and a silver, and it sold really fucking well. And that's why loads of people was like, oh, let's start adding these like microtransactions into games because they sold really well.
What the fuck?
Let me see if I can find how much it sold.
That's just like,
Um,
what the fuck? Like, it's not even the best looking fucking armor. I'd understand if it looked good, but that doesn't look good at all. It looks like it wants to sprout wings at the back.
I mean, to be fair, it did come out years ago. The PlayStation 3 year. uh, I'm looking like an article now. It's like the director of Elder Scrolls explains that the horse armor was a huge success. It cost them like nothing to make and sold loads. I remember a lot of people bought it and was like, it makes no difference to the game. And it's like, yeah, it's just cosmetic. And people were like, what the hell? I want my horse to like take less damage.
Fuck Elder Scrolls for
Yeah,
that then.
apparently it just sold really, really well. And that's kind of where microtransactions started being like, oh, well, he sold a random horse armor. Let's just keep going.
God damn it.
I'd love to see. I'd love for him to release like how much he actually made from it, but I can't see it anywhere.
But yeah, the moral of the story is some DLCs are really good, some are just really terrible. And, don't make your skins worthless. Make it worth the money you pay, or at least fucking be able to earn it within the game. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be complaining if I could earn that in the game. Yeah, it looks shit armor, but if I got earned it in the game, it's fine. But if it's just like, it's literally just, you have to pay £2.50 for it, that's just shit. That's just
Well, the worst thing was you paid £2.50 for it, and then you had to go in game and buy it for 500 gold.
Did ya?
Yeah, I mean 500 gold is like nothing, I don't think.
Yeah, but
like,
still, that's like the label of bad DLC. Here you go, here's something. Oh, you still got to pay for it with your in-game money. Though you brought it out of game, you need to pay for it in-game. That is your prime example of bad DLC. There you go. That's how you end DLCs on that.
I think the joke of this is everyone complained when this DLC first came out, being like, "Oh, it's pointless. It's just cosmetic," and now it's come back full circle, and that's all people want. It's just cosmetic items as DLC. Everyone's like, "I don't want this like pay to win stuff." But yeah, I apparently it sold really well, and that's kind of where
DLCs
a
kind
lot
of
of these,
came from.
especially microtransaction type of DLCs, was like, yeah, okay, so
I thought of like a good example of kind of DLC, but it's technically a physical thing. These sort of games that I only thought of it because I saw like one of the episodes popped on TV. Like remember like Skylanders and like Disney Infinity and the Lego Dimensions. Like you had to buy the extra expansions out of game just to play as that character in game.
Yeah,
Like,
see, I didn't
and
mind
they weren't
that in a
cheap.
way
They
because
weren't cheap. They were like £10 a
yeah,
pop for a little figure. £10 a pop.
yeah, but I suppose you're getting the figure at the same time. I think that was the only cool thing. So, oh, you're getting this like figure. I mean, some of them was done really badly, like cheap on, but like some of them was like pretty cool. Like I remember, pretty sure he's called Zap. It's like a blue, looks like Spyro, like a blue dragon. I fucking love that one. He's had that on my shelf all the time at home. But like, yeah, they went a bit extreme with that. Obviously, Toys to Life series, wasn't it? Was it Toys to Life?
Toys to Life. Because I think Skylanders started it, then obviously Disney jumped on the bandwagon with Infinity, and then Lego went, yeah, but do the same thing. And like, it kind of died. Like, I think Nintendo did Amiibo. That was the kind of thing, but that wasn't like exactly
Amiibos
like
are
that.
like. So the only cool thing about Amiibos was there's like painted and like crafted so well. Even if you just wanted like the figure, not to use it in game, you could just buy it. Like I know a lot of people who just bought it just to have it on display. But like when you had these Skylanders, and especially I mean the Disney ones, they were dreadful. They always looked so bad. You used to get little cardboard cutouts for that as well. You used to put them inside the little fucking slots, the extra power ups and stuff.
It's the only one I didn't touch
I think
was
they
the Disney
too
one.
far.
I brought
Yeah,
Skylanders. I think at the time Skylanders it was a really fun thing. As you say, like yeah, it's expensive. I think some were worth it. I say like, the ones that you really wanted, I think were worth it, especially if you could get them on sale. And I think there were some like little expansions like where you got like something and it added like something within the game. Like you could get like one. It was like a pirate ship, and you had like a shark with it, and you had some like ghost swords that come and help you in battle. Like those are pretty cool ideas, but it's just the pricing I think was ridiculous on them. Like I think it was literally like almost £10 just for like the normal figurine. Then I think you could get like a set of like 3 for like £30, like essentially £10 each, and then you could get like a battle pack, which was like a character and 2 sort of little things like a ship or some potion or something, and that was about like £20. Like they went fucking like really far. I think like it was a good idea.
And then don't forget the Giants one came out, and that was fucking like extra how much?
Yeah, well, obviously they released Giants where you had to buy then obviously the giant ones. Then they released the which one was next? Was it? Oh, so you had the original. You had Giants. You had Trap Force. You had Imaginators, and you had the racing one and Fusion.
Yeah,
I think
Fusion. Yeah,
I think the racing one was
like the swap ones. They were cool.
I think the racing one was no. I think the Imaginators was the last one. I think the racing one was before that. I think Fusion was before that. I think it was Trap Force, the third one. Like the fact that they kept adding more games and you had to buy the more things to work those games. I think that's an idea of bad DLC. Yeah, obviously, so you got it was a cool idea because you got the physical things, but it was so expensive just to play a game. Like this is just to play a game. Like it's so expensive just to play a game. Like it's ridiculous. Like how expensive it was. I say obviously. Disney did it with Infinity. That ran for 3 games before they realised, yeah, no one's really bothering with this anymore. Let's stop. And obviously Lego went for 1 game. They did the 1 Lego Dimensions game. And the worst thing with Lego Dimensions was the fact you had to build it just to play with it. Like, you brought the game. I was discussing Lego Dimensions with Hayden yesterday, the day before. I just come out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, I've got that game. It's on the shelf over there, like behind everything. She's like, what? Well, yeah, it's on the shelf over there. Like, and I was like, oh, if you want to use the portal, obviously you have to build the actual portal to attach to the obviously
the blue thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a weird like
blue,
pointy spiky thing. And I was like, if you want to actually have the look of it, you have to actually generally build it. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, you have to plug. Obviously, you could just plug it in normally, but if you wanted it to look cool, you had to actually build the fucking thing. And that, like every set going forward, you had to physically build everything. Like that is like, oh yeah, we're Lego. You have to build us. Whereas obviously with Skylands and Disney Infinity, I think that's the only good thing with them is you didn't have to build it. Like it was just there. And he said you could literally put it on your shelf. It looks cool. You got a little spiral on your shelf. That looks pretty cool. That is the only good thing they had going for them is they look cool. But they say in terms of trying to play a game, I think they're expensive. And obviously they're an example of bad DLC because they're so expensive. Yeah, the kind of physical DLC, which is I say is cool, but for the price, just trying to run a game, it's a ridiculous price. You literally can only if you wanted to run it, you just have to use the basic bitch, what you got with it, and half the time it wasn't that great. Like it was okay, they were okay, but the better ones were the ones you had to buy out of it. Like I said, one of Skylanders, one of my favourite ones in the early game, I think the first game, I don't think it was the second, I think it was the first game it was introduced, was the shark character, which you could only buy in that 20 quid expansion. Like, and he was cool because he could summon little piranha sharks. That's cool. And I think one of the ones later on, which you had to buy physically out of it. This might have been the first one as well, I can't remember. It's like a little guy, he's a bit like Jekyll and Hyde, he drinks potions and goes fucking crazy. Pop Fizz,
yeah,
something
I did
like
like
that. That's cool. It's just obviously, it's just expensive to get them. And it's not necessarily just expensive to get them. Sometimes it was so hard to fucking find them.
Yeah,
Like
that's another thing that I hated with that stuff as well. It was like, fair enough, every game that went forward, you could use the old ones on. That was really good. But they'd reintroduce the same one again. So like, you had a Spyro in every set. It's like, well, I've already got a Spyro there. Like
a different pose or something like that.
It's the same. It's essentially the same thing.
Exact same character, exact same stats. It's just a different pose of a figurine and like a different color base, maybe, or something like that.
Didn't you crash into it at one point?
Crash was in the last one, the Imaginator one, I think. That was Bowser and Donkey Kong were in the racing one for Nintendo. That was like an exclusive for the Nintendo one. Like you could literally.
Another thing that I thought was really cool is like if I had, like, let's say I had a figure and you had a figure, I could level it up on my stuff, bring it to yours, and it still have the same level, same gold and everything. You could just, it kind of transferred onto the actual figure itself. It wouldn't be on like your game. So I suppose if you're playing with friends, it'd be pretty cool because instead of having the whole set, you could be like, oh, do you want to come over? And as like, when I was younger, when it came out, it would have been like 10 times cooler. Like I remember my brother playing it loads because obviously he was young. He'd be like, oh, I'm playing. I'd always have this like Zap one. That's one I'd play with. I was always like, obviously top level with this character. I'd go in and kill everything.
So it's just it's the case of obviously it's good DLC for the fact that you can get physical items, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool, but it's also bad because like there's so many of them to get. It was essentially like trying to collect like normal, say like Funko Pop collectibles. It's essentially like trying to collect them. Add more use because you could play them within the game, but it's the case of sometimes it was so hard to find them. Like, especially at the time, I think now it'd be a lot easier, especially with a lot, like, heavily now. Obviously, you got your many fucking online retailers that you could probably track them down on. But back then, it wasn't heavy on in terms of online shopping. It was more, say, go to Game or go to Tesco's or something like that, and you're not guaranteed they're going to have it. Like, don't get me wrong, online shopping was still quite big-ish, but it's not as big as it is now, where you can easily just like go online and go, there it is. Like, I did a quick Google search on Amazon earlier of Skylanders, and I found loads of them, but you can't find the games. Like, you can find a lot of the figures, but you can't find the games. Whereas that shows how easy it is to get hold of figures now. Whereas back then it was so difficult. Like I remember the first game coming out, and I think I had it for Christmas because it came out not long before, like maybe like a month or so before Christmas. And I remember basically us going to Tesco, and they had like they have like the metal crates where they put like some stuff in, like sometimes put like chocolates and shit like that in it. They had one of them, just full of Skylanders, and like it was just trying to find, like, hoping that they had the one you wanted. I think I got lucky and got most of the ones I wanted, but it's just a case of a lot of times you were unlucky and you were like, shit, I wanted this one, they don't have it in stock. Shit, what am I going to do now? As you say, at that time, online shopping wasn't as big as it is now, so you weren't going to go home and go, oh, I'll go on Amazon. There we go, brought.
I was literally just looking at for Skylanders, and I totally forgot they also did trading cards that you could use. Do Do you remember that as well? You could buy like packs of trading cards. It's like Pokemon, but you could use it in the actual portal. Like it'd give you items.
I think I
I
remember
totally
trading
forgot about
cards.
that.
But yeah, it's just a case of if you handle DLC right, it's worth it and it's be good. But I think if it's handled bad and it's kind of just like unnecessary, then it's like it's not worth it at all. It's bad DLC. That's the best way to kind of sum it up. Make it worth it, and then you'll be looking at it and going, okay, that's good. And don't make it pay to win.
Yeah,
Because
I
then
know. I
that's
mean, I
dumb.
know a lot of the old figures with Skylanders don't even work anymore because the chip thing in the bottom that you scan doesn't actually work. Like a lot of people have to take it apart and magnetize it again because it just
Really?
the old one just doesn't work. Yeah,
So they're more the statues now.
pretty much. Yeah, obviously you can get them working eventually. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it with like the amiibos as well, but because it's literally just like a little code thing with like codes on it. When you put the figure, and that's all the game basically reads. You can buy like little tokens basically that do the same thing. You just hold the token to it and it works. So you could, I mean, that's cheap, but you could literally buy it for like next to nothing. I'm pretty sure you can technically get every amiibo card for like, I think it's like £2.50. You technically get every amiibo then. But obviously, what game really uses amiibos now? I mean, Smash Bros did for a while, and that was about it. Never really did a lot with the amiibos. I think they could have done a lot more.
That's the one that didn't do much. Obviously, you say with Skylanders Disney Infinity, they did quite a bit because they had multiple games and it expanded. I mean, the Skylanders got a TV show at one point. I think the last Skylanders thing they did was a mobile game. That went into mobile gaming.
Everything goes there eventually because it's so easy to make, and a lot of people download
Yeah.
it who've never played it before. So
Yeah, I think that's the best way to sum up DLCs. Make it worth it, and then we'll say it's good. But if it's not worth it and you've waited ages, or it's just something you quickly threw out like cosmetics that don't make any sense, then it's just shit. So what's the point? That's the best way to like sum up DLCs. Make it worth it.
give me some I want.
Exactly. I'll tell you what we can bring back real quick. News segment, but we won't be stuck with just like a small segment each. We can actually just think of if you think of anything news related that you can bring it up. So I know before when we first started this, obviously I had movies, TVs, and video games. I think you had video games as well, monkey news, and music.
Yeah, I haven't got no monkey news. Sorry.
If you can find any monkey news, that'd be great. Because monkey news was always the best part. Obviously I know like movie news. There's been a lot of like trailers dropped recently because there's like CinemaCon sort of thing in America. So obviously a lot of movies have been like obviously showing footages of their films that are coming out, and they obviously eventually dropped trailers online. So I know we recently got a trailer for The Flash, a second trailer for that. And remember that poster I showed you, that really dopey ass fucking picture of the Flash, and everyone's like, "What the fuck's this?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?" That shot's in the trailer, and I was just like, "That just ruined that entire." Like, it has such a really cool shot of like both Flashes like running like towards the camera, and obviously Supergirl in the middle, and you got the one really cool Flash, got really cool Supergirl, and you got really derpy ass fucking Flash. It's just like that just ruined that entire shot. Like that was just so bad. What else to drop? They dropped the trailer today for Transformers: The Rise of the Beast. Dropped another trailer for that, where it revealed that the big bad guy of the film is going to be Unicron, and it's just like, but wasn't Unicron the plot point of the last Michael Bay Transformers movie? So you just go in the same route but changing it. It's just like, it looks good. Don't get me wrong, it looks a lot better than that fucking trash ass last night. But I just want to see how it goes, because I swear I said to Hayden, I swear I read somewhere that the guy who made it was like, oh, it's still like connected to the Michael Bay movies, and I was like, how? Because Unicron's part of Earth. That makes no sense. So I want to see how they try and handle that. But other than that, like, the trailer looked pretty cool. It showed a lot of the beasts. It obviously showed you a lot of who obviously people are voicing. So you finally heard I can't remember the bird Transformer's name, but obviously there's a flying Transformer. It's voiced by Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh, the one who was in that Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
She's like the voice of that. So it revealed that. Other trailers to drop. They dropped the trailer for the final Equalizer movie, Denzel Washington.
Oh, I did hear about that. I haven't seen it yet, but I did hear about it.
I hope it's good, because I wasn't a big fan of the second one. I thought the first one was really good. I really enjoyed the first one, but I thought the second one was a bit of a letdown. So I'm hoping this like goes back to that first one and doesn't just like taint the franchise, especially since it's the last one. You always want the last one to be good. You don't want it to be a Rambo. I take you. You took my heart, so I take yours. What else they dropped recently trailer wise? Some like really crappy looking Jack Whitehall film got released like trailer wise.
I'm not seeing.
It's something called Robots. It looks crap.
Oh god.
It
Yeah,
looks
I
really
can
bad.
imagine.
Like it's like forced humor. Like it's so bad.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the other trailers, but okay. I'm trying. I can't think about glancing at YouTube. Oh, apparently I left my data on. But that helps me because it means I can just literally go on YouTube so much easier. Okay, let's look at my watch history. That'll tell you what other fucking trailers dropped recently. We also saw a trailer for Taika Waititi's next film. The guy who made the 4 films. It's called Next Goal Wins. It stars Michael Fassbender. He's like a football coach that goes to basically this country, basically to like the worst possible team ever, and has to try and make them good. It looks quite funny. Like I'll give it a watch. If it's anything like JoJo, it'd be good. But if it's anything like his last 4 movie, it's gonna be alright-ish.
Oh, ish.
What else we got? We got another fucking Inspector Poirot movie coming out. Kenneth Branagh. Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah.
There's another one called A Haunting in Venice, which ironically stars Michelle Yeoh as well. That come out of nowhere. There's a gay western with Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke coming out. Like a short. It's like a short. It's like a short movie. Like a short. It's called Strange Way of Life. But obviously, them 2 are the main characters. Obviously, they're the kind of gay lovers. There's literally a shot in the trailer where Pedro Pascal's like staring at the camera and Ethan Hawke comes behind him and tries to kiss him on the neck and it just cuts to another scene. I was like, okay. I read about this like, a while ago. I was like, I thought they were taking the piss at first, and I just thought it was like a joke thing that was coming out. But no, it's a general short film that's going to like fucking like film festivals and that. I was like, I kind of need to see this now to see how it goes. What else we got? I think that might be. Oh, Witcher 3. Witcher 3 got a teaser trailer release.
Oh, season 3.
Yeah, it's split into 2 parts now. No, there was Strange Things, where it's like Volume 1 this date, and a month later you have to go to Volume 2. Same with Witcher. Volume 1 comes out at the end of June, Volume 2 the end of July. And other than that, according to my watch history, that is it. Yeah, those are my movie trailers that have been dropped in the past like few days, I'd say. Anything you can think of?
I've got 2 stories. I've got 1 gaming, and I've got 1 monkey news for you.
Go on then.
Alright. The big one in gaming today was the fact that the UK banned Microsoft from taking over Activision Blizzard.
I saw that.
And their excuse was, we're trying to protect cloud gaming. And I was like, on what level are you protecting cloud gaming? Stadia is dead. That's gone. Microsoft have their own cloud gaming. They also already made deals with Nvidia have their own cloud gaming. They made deals to add Call of Duty to their library and other Blizzard and Activision games. There was another cloud gaming company which they made deals with as well. If this went through, and the UK ban it being like, oh no, it's just to protect cloud gaming. Every other cloud gaming company came out and was like, this was helping us rather than like hurting us. I don't understand how you're twisting this to be this way. And I was trying to read upon it, and apparently people are saying if this goes to the US and goes through in the US, they'll be able to have this stuff, and the UK will be left out of having this stuff on Game Pass. So it'll literally be like country exclusive games then, rather than like consoles or PC exclusive. So I don't know how it's going to work.
I know they're appealing it. I saw that.
And they're going to appeal. I mean, it's stupid. I feel like you should go through it. I mean, PlayStation have been doing like, I know PlayStation haven't been buying these big companies, but they've been buying a lot of smaller companies and making their games exclusive to PlayStation recently. I know they've done it. They even did it with Final Fantasy, the new one. They've literally made it like an exclusive PlayStation thing because there's like, we don't want it on any other console, and they paid them extra money to make it exclusive. So, but I don't understand how people can say it's like. I understand if you're saying that, you know, this huge gaming company, Activision Blizzard, because to be fair, it is one of the biggest fucking companies going. So we Call of Duty sells how much every year, but the fact that Xbox were willing to like license it out still, even if they owned it, same as they did with a lot of the Bethesda games. I mean, they could have blocked Doom from going out on console, but they're like, no, we'll let it go through. But I know for a fact if PlayStation and Sony owned it, they'll be blocking it instantly. But no, okay, it's ours now. So, but yeah. I think it's stupid, and I think it's good and stupid. It depends what angle it comes from. But the cloud gaming argument was like the weakest argument they could have gave. And sure, monkey news. Apparently, in Delhi, in India, there've been some monkeys running on the yellow line service, so the train's been delayed because the monkeys been getting run over.
For fuck's sake! Monkey news is back, ladies and gents.
Apparently, they've literally been stuffing the trains to ensure there's no harm to the monkeys because they're literally just sat on the middle of the tracks, not moving.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh,
my God.
Jesus Christ! Oh.
So yeah,
that's a good way. That's a good note to end on.
Let me put the image in my background of like the monkey trying to jump out of the way of this train.
Oh yes,
like,
go on. Whack that in the background.
Hang on.
Oh, I gotta see that. I gotta see this. I need to see this monkey like blocking the train. Watch your head. Oh, that's just beautiful. That is just bravo. That is
the Indian Express.
That is just the perfect way to end this episode. Perfect way to end episode 69. It may not have been a dirty topic, but you know that's one way to end this episode. Right then, obviously you can check out the podcast on YouTube. If you don't watch it in video form, like, you don't get to see this beautiful background of Connor's. If obviously you just listen to it on audio form, you got Spotify, iTunes, Audible, Amazon Music, etc., etc. Obviously, if you liked it, below. If there's any comments of us how to improve this show or any topics you'd like us to discuss, put them below. If you can think of any good news from Monkey News, put that in the comments below too. If you can beat Connor's monkeys stopping trains in Delhi, then try at it, and we'll figure out next time if you did beat him or not. And yeah, like, what's your thoughts on DLC and what you would describe as good or bad DLC? So yeah, obviously we hope you enjoyed, and thank you again, Connor, for joining me as always.
I'm here every week. Well, most weeks I feel like.
Probably near enough every week. But if we can't get an episode in, obviously then we'll just jump to next week. But yeah, obviously we're gonna get the live stream and hopefully up and running next week, and we'll have some fun with that. And other than that, obviously this has been the Chattercade podcast, and I'm gonna go try and finish installing Star Wars because it's 130 odd gig game. I put it on to install at lunchtime, and it's still installing for some reason. R.I.P. me. Bye.
Good luck, soldier.